Most preppers build their plans around being at home. But what happens when disaster strikes while you're hundreds of miles away or even in another country with none of your gear? In this video, I'll share practical ways to stay prepared, even when you're traveling light and far from home. Welcome to Prepper's Paradigm, your channel dedicated to practical prepping and disaster preparedness. I use a computer-generated voice because my own is hard to understand due to an injury. Today, we're tackling a tough part of prepping: how to stay ready when you're away from home. Whether you're traveling for work, vacation, or something in between, being caught unprepared can put you at serious risk. Most of us can't bring a full bug-out bag through airport security or stash a month of supplies in a hotel room. But that doesn't mean you have to be vulnerable. I travel regularly, both within the US and overseas, and I've learned a lot about how to stay safe and prepared on the move. In this video, I'll walk through realistic strategies for travel prepping, including what to pack, how to plan, and what to do if things go wrong, whether you're just a few miles from home, across the country, or on the other side of the world. Most of us build our preps around home. That's where we store gear, stack food, and plan to hunker down if things go bad. But life doesn't always work that way. Emergencies don't wait for you to get back from a business trip or a family vacation. Travel creates a gap in your preparedness. You're often in unfamiliar places, with limited supplies, restricted by luggage rules, and surrounded by strangers. Even minor problems, like a delayed flight or a closed road, can become serious fast if you're not prepared. Add language barriers, weather events, or civil unrest, and you've got a real problem. Now think about the big ones: a regional grid-down event, a cyber attack that halts travel, a solar flare that triggers an EMP and wipes out communications. If something like that hits while you're far from home, what's your plan? Travel prepping isn't about fear. It's about being realistic. You won't be able to carry everything, but with the right mindset and a few key tools, you can stay ready even when you're out of your element. How you prep for travel depends a lot on how far you are from home. The further you go, the more complicated things get. Let's break it down into three categories: local, long distance, within your country, and international. Local travel within 50 miles. When you're close to home, your main goal in a disaster is simple: get back quickly and safely. If there's a power outage, civil unrest, or even a sudden storm, you're still within a realistic travel distance from home, even on foot. That's why a get-home bag, which can be kept in your vehicle or carry with you, is important. If traffic locks up or roads are blocked, it lets you move fast without relying on anyone else. If walking isn't an option or the situation's too dangerous, look for somewhere safe to wait, like a secure public building, a friend's place, or even your vehicle parked away from main roads. The sooner you assess whether to stay or go, the better your odds of getting through it cleanly. Distant domestic travel. When you're a few hundred miles from home and a major disaster hits, a grid-down event, a cyber attack, or even a fast-moving civil emergency, you need to shift gears fast. Your first move is to find shelter and figure out what's really going on. Airports and bus stations can descend into chaos quickly, so unless you're certain they're still operating, it's usually safer to avoid them. If the roads are open and safe, and you have access to a vehicle, consider starting the journey home immediately. Fill your tank if possible, and move fast before fuel runs out or highways get blocked. But if travel isn't an option, maybe you're on foot, public transport is down, or there's unrest making the route too dangerous, you need to hunker down and reassess. Find a secure place to stay. That might be a hotel, a rural short-term rental, or even a church or community center if others are taking shelter there. Alternatively, find a safe hiding spot where you can shelter. Ideally, get somewhere that's outside of a major population center, where resources will last longer and tensions will stay lower. If you've got cash, use it while it's still worth something to get supplies, extra food, water, warm clothing, or even a bicycle. Once you have a safe shelter, start planning. Is it safer to stay put, or should you start moving toward home in stages? Could you get closer each day, even if it's just 10 or 20 miles? Think in terms of zones, not "I need to get home all at once," but "how can I move out of the danger area and get closer to familiar ground?" If you can move, take the chance early before panic spreads and roads clog. If you can't, then survival becomes local. Focus on making your temporary location as safe and sustainable as possible for the days or weeks ahead. Allies can be helpful, but in uncertain situations, sharing your route, supplies, or intentions with the wrong person can put you at risk. Consider carefully who you trust. Blend in, stay alert, and make quiet progress. You won't have everything with you, but you still have the most important prep of all, your mindset. International travel. International travel is where things get real. You're in unfamiliar territory, possibly don't speak the language, and don't have a reliable support network. If a disaster strikes while you're overseas, whether it's a natural disaster, civil unrest, or a full-blown grid-down event, you have to think fast and act smart. Your first move is to get to safety. Avoid crowds and stay away from high-profile targets like government buildings, major transit hubs, or tourist-heavy areas. These places can quickly become hotspots for violence, looting, or crackdowns. If it's safe to travel, head for a quieter district where you can disappear into the background. Try to secure a place to stay that's out of the way and has access to water, food, and exit routes. If local stores are still open, use cash immediately to stock up on basics. In many countries, cash is still king when systems go down. You may only have a small stash, so prioritize clean water, shelf-stable food, and items that help you stay warm, dry, and mobile. If the situation looks like it will last more than a couple of days, and you're near a U.S. embassy or consulate, try to reach it. But be realistic, they may not be offering evacuation, especially if the crisis is widespread. Even so, they can sometimes provide information, limited assistance, or help you contact someone back home. In a long-term grid down or EMP scenario, getting home may not be possible for weeks or longer. At that point, your focus shifts. Instead of planning your return, you need to shift into full survival mode where you are. That means blending in with the locals, avoiding attention, and rationing your supplies. If you're in a rural area, it might actually be safer to stay there than to try to travel through collapsing cities or across borders. Bartering skills, physical labor, and language basics can go a long way. In some regions, being foreign might draw unwanted attention, so the more you can look and act like someone who belongs, the better. Quietly ask questions, gather local intel, and don't trust just anyone. However, offering labor and skills in exchange for shelter and food may keep you alive. Make decisions based on safety and sustainability, not desperation. You're not trying to be a hero. You're trying to stay alive. In a situation like that, survival isn't about getting home immediately. It's about staying safe, staying fed, and staying smart until the world stabilizes, or until you find a viable route home. How you travel affects what you can carry, and how you respond when things go wrong. Let's look at a few different transport methods and what to keep in mind for each one. By car. Traveling by car gives you more control than other forms of transport, but it's not invulnerable. If you're on the road and something goes wrong, whether that's a grid failure, civil unrest, or a sudden natural disaster, your vehicle can either be a huge asset or a trap. If you're caught mid-journey and the roads start to clog, don't wait too long to make decisions. You need to assess whether it's safer to continue, turn back, or pull off and wait it out. Keep the gas tank at least half full at all times while traveling. If stations shut down or are overwhelmed, you'll still have range to move. If your vehicle becomes unusable because of an EMP, mechanical failure, or blocked roads, salvage what you can and switch to your get-home strategy. That might mean walking or finding an alternate mode of transport, like a bike. If you're stuck in place, use your vehicle for shelter, but stay aware. It's not always safe to sleep in your car depending on where you are. Park somewhere quiet, out of sight, and prepare to move on foot if needed. By plane. Air travel is where you're the most restricted, and when disaster strikes mid-journey, you're often stuck in crowded, vulnerable places, airports, terminals, or foreign cities where you know no one. If a major incident happens while you're flying, there's not much you can do until you land. But once you're on the ground, everything changes. Expect airports to lock down fast. Lines will form, flights will cancel, and information will dry up. Avoid staying in the airport longer than necessary. If systems are down and flights are canceled indefinitely, your priority is to leave the area before tensions rise. Use your cash to secure a hotel nearby or put distance between yourself and the crowd. If you're abroad and borders start to close, head to your embassy if it's within reach. If it's not, focus on getting to a safe location outside major urban areas. Airports become high-risk zones in long-term disasters. Keep your travel gear compact and with you at all times, because if your checked bag vanishes, you need to be able to survive with what's on your back. By train or bus. Trains and buses can be convenient, but they're unpredictable in a disaster. If you're mid-route and the system shuts down, you might find yourself stranded in a town you didn't plan to visit with no ride and limited services. If something happens while you're in transit, get off in a smaller town or area before the chaos builds. Big hubs can become dangerous quickly. Always carry your essential gear in a personal bag that stays with you. Don't rely on access to overhead storage or checked compartments. If the situation deteriorates while you're still at the station, leave early and on foot if needed. Staying put in a crowded terminal increases your risk. Move quietly, stick to the edges of crowds, and keep a low profile. On foot. If a disaster leaves you walking, either by necessity or because you're caught mid-journey, your main concern is safety and stamina. Don't push too hard too fast. Choose routes that offer cover and water sources. If you're in a city, get out early. Urban areas get dangerous fast in a crisis. If you're in a rural or suburban area, avoid highways and main roads. Use side streets, rail lines, or even wooded trails where possible. Walking long distances in a disaster is mentally and physically exhausting. Take breaks, ration supplies, and watch your feet. One bad blister can stop your progress. Your ability to keep moving and to know when to stop is what will carry you through. Prepping for travel isn't just about gear, it's about thinking ahead. Different emergencies require different responses. Let's walk through a few scenarios, from small disruptions to full-scale collapse. Minor emergencies. These are the most common situations you'll face while traveling: delayed flights, missing luggage, a small injury, or maybe getting stuck overnight somewhere unexpected. The key is to stay calm and flexible. Use what's in your travel kit to solve the problem. A little cash can get you a place to stay or a hot meal. A backup charger keeps your phone running when you need to rearrange plans. Carrying basic medical supplies means a cut or headache doesn't turn into a crisis. The goal is to keep small problems from snowballing into something bigger. Always keep your essentials on you, never in a checked bag, and have a backup plan in mind, especially if you're changing locations multiple times. If you're stranded somewhere overnight, find a secure place and keep a low profile. This isn't the time to stand out or tell strangers too much. Natural disasters. If a hurricane, wildfire, earthquake, or flood hits while you're on the move, your first job is to get out of immediate danger. Don't waste time trying to save your luggage. Shelter, safety, and clear thinking are your priorities. If you're indoors and it's safe, stay put and ride it out. But if buildings are damaged, or you're in a flood zone or a wildfire path, you need to move fast and find higher ground or a more stable location. Once you're safe, get information however you can: radio, phone, or by asking locals. You'll want to know if roads are closed, if help is coming, and where resources are still available. In these events, roads fill up fast, stores get stripped bare, and services can vanish in hours. If you can move safely, do so early. But if conditions are unstable, it's better to stay put and ration what you have than to get stuck in gridlock or put yourself at unnecessary risk. Major SHTF or EMP events. This is the worst-case scenario: a total blackout of communication, transport, and power. Whether it's a solar flare EMP, a coordinated cyber attack, or an event that causes national collapse, it changes everything. If you're away from home when this happens, your priorities are survival and movement. First, get out of crowded areas. Cities, airports, and shopping centers can become dangerous fast. Your next step is finding safe shelter where you can rest, think, and prepare. If it's clear the power and communication won't be coming back soon, you need to start planning how to get home or how to survive where you are. If walking is your only option, you need to know which direction you're going, how far it is, and how much you can carry. That's where paper maps, printed contact info, preloaded knowledge, and your survival skills become your lifeline. Walking long distances may take days or weeks, so don't expect to rush it. Break it into stages, look for shelter options, find water and food sources, and avoid conflict as much as possible. Move quietly, avoid main roads, and don't draw attention. In some cases, it may be smarter to stay put, especially if the route home is too dangerous or you're in a region with better resources than where you're headed. Prepping isn't just about having the right tools. It's about knowing when to act and when to wait. You can't bring your entire prep with you when you travel, but you can carry enough to make a real difference. The key is to focus on mindset, awareness, and a few strategic tools. Start with the basics. Never leave home without a way to purify water, a source of light, a way to start fire, and at least a small amount of high-calorie food. A compact med kit, power bank, and some cash can get you through many short-term disruptions. Don't rely on gear that you might not be allowed to carry. TSA, local laws, and international customs can all strip you of what you thought was essential. Instead, rely on adaptability. If you've practiced survival skills at home, you'll know how to make do. Pay attention to what's around you. Know where exits are. Watch how people are acting. Scan crowds for signs of trouble. If something feels off, don't wait, move. Before any trip, do your homework. Look up regional risks, local infrastructure, and recent news. Know where the nearest hospital, embassy, or consulate is located if you're traveling abroad. One final point, don't overlook the value of blending in. Looking like a target or like someone with valuable gear can get you into trouble. Keep your kit discreet, your head down, and your awareness high. You don't need to carry a full bug-out bag to be a prepared traveler. With a smart kit, good planning, and the right mindset, you can stay ready no matter how far from home you are. If you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more practical prepping advice. Check out our website, linked in the description, for an in-depth article covering everything we talked about today and a travel checklist. Stay alert, stay ready, and stay safe out there.